Mass Effect 2 was just a continuation of a story and an epic saga that began at one of the most pivotal times in my life, where I needed a game like Mass Effect to just punch a hole into my reality and sort of take me out a bit and let me dream a bit. That's the thing. I felt like I could dream again. Losing somebody as close as your dad, your best friend, you know, it was so hard. And a game like Mass Effect, it kind of gave me hope. This video is sponsored by Raycon. Black Friday's right around the corner, and man, that always takes me back to those wild 2000s midnight madness sales. I'd be out there in the cold, waiting for the doors to open so I could snag the latest Xbox 360 games. If only I'd had a pair of Raycons back then. Keep your ears open and your holiday playlist rolling with Raycon's Essential Open Earbuds. These open-ear earbuds let you stay connected to what's around you while still enjoying your favorite music, podcasts, or calls. And this Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you can save up to 30% off all Raycon audio products. What I love about these is how they deliver crystal clear sound while keeping your ears open. Honestly, these Raycons are perfect for when I want to take a break from editing and go on a little walk around my neighborhood. I can actually hear the music I'm listening to, but also be aware of my surroundings. And that multi-angular hook gives a secure fit. Raycon gives you premium sound quality at about half the price of the big name brands, with over 3 million happy customers and a 30-day happiness guarantee. So don't wait. Black Friday is almost here, and Raycon audio products are up to 30% off site-wide. These early deals won't last long, so grab yours before they're gone. Click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/myretrolifeopen to get up to 30% off during Raycon's Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. That's buyraycon.com/myretrolifeopen. The Xbox 360 is a legendary console in my retro life, but for bittersweet reasons. This was a console that my dad gifted me when I was 19 years old in 2005. That Christmas, really one of my last greatest memories of Christmas with my dad.
Xbox 360!
And so with the anniversary, the 20th anniversary of the Xbox 360 right around the corner, I thought it would be a good time to take a look back at some of the Xbox 360 games that really helped me grieve the loss of my dad.
Xbox 360.
Hey, not just Perfect Dark Zero, it's the limited edition.
Rock Band was a game that I actually never intended to ever play in my life. I was sort of already over Guitar Hero at this point. I had kind of moved on, and Rock Band comes out, and I didn't buy it. My buddy Brian bought it. After my dad passed away in 2007, it was the hardest thing I had ever dealt with in my life. And my buddy Brian, God bless him, he really reached out to me and really made an effort to get me involved in his friend group. I was invited over to his house time and time again to play Rock Band. We would have Rock Band parties at his house, and it was just such a great distraction. Choosing an instrument, this was the evolution of Guitar Hero. And so everybody would grab an instrument, though. Instead of just playing guitar, you had a band. You had drums, you had bass guitar, lead guitar, and somebody could be on the mic singing. I often asked to be the lead singer, and so I loved singing these songs and just, losing myself in this music. And, so much of it was rock music that my dad introduced me to. growing up. So it was this weird combination of, moving on and finding community and finding my place in the world after Dad passed away. And so for that, Rock Band, it was really, truly a defining game for me in that era in my 20s. I'll always look back on those Rock Band nights with a heavy heart, but also a healing heart. Burnout Revenge was my absolute favorite racing game on the Xbox 360. And really, if I'm being honest, I think Burnout Revenge might be my favorite racing game of all time. But Burnout Revenge just kind of took the fast-paced racing insanity to a whole new level. There's something about the locations and just the sense of speed and how great this game looked at 60 frames per second on your Xbox 360. It just was mind-blowing. And even when I play it to this day, it's one of these racing games that I feel like stands the test of time.
Enough talk. Time to drive. Keep it locked to Crash FM.
There's something about the motion blur as you're turbo boosting, just trying to knock your opponent into walls and just, get them to total out. I'd come home from work and I would really just want to lose myself in something quick that I could pick up and really not have to spend too much time in or too much brain power on, really, and just have a blast. And the soundtrack, too, is so remarkable for just really being a time capsule of 2005, 2006, that era of alternative rock, punk rock mixed with emo. Oh my gosh, emo, those whiny, crying emo bands were so popular, and I'm guilty as charged for loving them back in those days. And Burnout Revenge just is this great little time capsule of a game. Now, Dead Rising. When Dead Rising came out, it was such a remarkable game because here was Capcom delivering a brand new zombie game franchise. If Resident Evil was more of Night of the Living Dead, this was more like 1980s Dawn of the Dead. You are Frank West in this game, and you're trapped inside a shopping mall that is infested with zombies. To me, Frank West sort of was like John McClane in Die Hard. Instead of terrorists in a giant building, you are fighting zombies in a shopping mall, and it's up to you to search and rescue all of the civilians that are in this mall and bring them to safety. Oh man, there's just so much personality and charm in Dead Rising. You have an open world to explore in this shopping mall. Every nook and cranny is explorable, and I would just walk around and listen to the ambiance. The elevator ambiance mixed with zombie moans and cries, and there's nothing better. I've got to be honest, the game was really creepy in a sense that the scariest part of it was not the zombies, it was the villainous human characters that you encounter in this game that are your boss battles. They are insane.
This is my store! You came to vandalize my store! Huh? I don't allow vandalism in my store!
Panic and paranoia and self-preservation are on full display here, and these boss battles are wild, and the way they write these storylines into them with these human characters is just so brilliant. When I think of this era in my 20s and the Xbox 360, Dead Rising is it's one of my favorites. Castle Crashers is not a retail release. It was released on the Xbox 360 Live Arcade. And I love this game, though. Like, this game, I would be remiss if I did not put this on this video. When Castle Crashers came out, I remember, again, I was probably hanging out with Brian. Suddenly this topic came up of Castle Crashers and how this new game was like Golden Axe, like a new Golden Axe for our generation as, you know, young 20-somethings remembering those days of the classic beat-em-ups like Golden Axe and Knights of the Round. Here was this medieval beat-em-up. This was the first sort of retro modern game of its time that I can remember that really was a brand new creation with, you know, a new storyline and new characters and a new art style, but it was tackling a classic genre of video games. We used to get together and just like classic multiplayer couch co-op, like back in the day, we would play this beat 'em up, and oh my gosh, it was so great. The animations are so fluid. The just the cartoony nature mixed with the sort of violent nature of the there's a lot of like blood and gore. Castle Crashers sort of fits into that whole era where flash animation was so popular, and just, you know, I think of like Homestar Runner.
Ooh, a tall, cool glass of Mountain Dew. Don't mind if I draw. Glug, glug, glug.
And Happy Tree Friends, and man, it all kind of fits together in this era. It all just makes me remember that time period, and Castle Crashers is one of those games that really brings me back. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 were two games that I absolutely became obsessed with in the late 2000s. I just loved these like games where you could just get lost in a survival horror situation. Whereas Dead Rising was third-person perspective and sort of campy and comedic, Left 4 Dead was like first-person, full immersion, scary stuff. Even in my early 20s, I didn't like playing this game by myself. That's why I would often go over to my friend Brian's house, you know, my buddy Brian, and we would play this game together. I still, to this day, remember that moment where if there's a witch character coming up and you've got to destroy them, you and your teammates are just scared out of your minds.
It's okay. We're gonna do
I can remember Brian and I just being, oh no, there's a witch. It's one of those games where it is survival of the fittest, and you have to work together as a team to traverse these horror-filled landscapes, but you played it with friends and you got scared together, and the adrenaline rush that came from playing this game with your buddies or playing with them online, oh gosh, it was fantastic. Left 4 Dead 2 was even better.
I have not come this far to die now.
When it came out and it expanded to include like a carnival level, and oh my gosh, there's that entire moment at the stadium. I will never forget certain aspects of Left 4 Dead 2, certain sceneries like the Tunnel of Love section of that carnival. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so creepy, and what a fantastic setting to fight these monsters in. The way they wrote this adventure to sort of pan out, oh, so good. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 defined my 20s. Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City. The Arkham games on the 360. 360 was my console of choice, guys. I preferred it over the PlayStation 3. And so I played the Batman Arkham games on the Xbox 360. I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy, but Batman is actually my favorite superhero of all time. Batman Arkham Asylum, when it came out, it put Batman into this almost like, horrifying situation where he's trapped in Arkham Asylum, where he has put away all of his bad guys. His rogues gallery of enemies that he put in Arkham Asylum is there. And Joker has taken over the asylum, and he is basically messing with your head as he rounds up all of the other asylum inmates, all the other supervillains, to make Batman's night miserable. The developers of this game found a way to make Arkham Asylum feel so big, even though it was just one location. And to me, it was amazing to find these different areas of the asylum and encounter these different classic Batman villains. And with each of them having their own little story arc, even the moments where you start hallucinating and you realize, oh my gosh, the Scarecrow is out loose and he's here about to mess with you.
You're in my world now.
Those Scarecrow scenes were just something else. The way you use the controls with the analog sticks, that was so inventive back in the day that it changed the way we looked at sort of like modern beat-em-ups in a 3D space. There's no other game on this planet that made you feel more like Batman. It only got better with Arkham City. Arkham City just opened up everything to a giant island known as Arkham City. It was almost like Alcatraz now, and all of the inmates and all the villains are now in this centralized city. It was an allocated section of Gotham City, but just for the villains. When I first leapt off of a building in this open world, and I started gliding as Batman with, his cape, and you see the raindrops falling on his cape with that beautiful Gotham skyline, the dark, eerie night. It's a moment I'll never forget. It's a moment I'll never forget as a gamer, where I truly felt like I was living out my own little childhood dream of being Batman. And here I was Batman, no longer in the asylum or confined to the asylum, but I was now in Gotham City. And the storytelling was still just as great. So many wonderful characters like Catwoman and different characters that didn't get used, different villains that weren't used in the first Arkham Asylum game. I will never forget that scene with Killer Croc in the sewers.
You are not welcome here.
Still one of the most standout moments of my entire gaming career. And honestly, to this day, they're two of my favorite games of all time. And finally, I really need to take some time to talk about Mass Effect.
Setting new course for Caliston.
Many decisions lie ahead. None of them easy. Rated M for mature.
Mass Effect came out in 2007. I got it Christmas that year when I was visiting my family in New York, just a few short months after we lost Dad. And I can tell you guys with complete certainty that Mass Effect was the defining game of my entire life that helped me in the grieving process.
How's our XO holding up, Doctor?
Well, all the readings look normal. I'd say the commander's going to be fine.
Glad to hear it. Shepard, I need to speak with you. In private.
Aye, aye, Captain. I'll be in the mess if you need me.
This was a game that just was so immersive the sci-fi setting and just being able to explore the galaxy as Commander Shepard. And really, I never played a role-playing game quite like this. This was like a very cinematic role-playing game and set in a sci-fi world that rivaled some of the greatest sci-fi movies.
We face extinction. A rogue soldier leads an unstoppable force across the galaxy. And only you stand in his way.
My cousin Manny would tell you how much I played this game on his Xbox 360 that year in 2007. So much of my week's stay in New York on that New York trip, I played this game, and it became a defining moment of that trip and of that era of my life where, you know, I was really hurting. By the end of Mass Effect, I knew even while playing it, it was one of my favorite games ever made. And it still is one of my favorite games to this day. But Mass Effect 2 was just a continuation of a story and an epic saga that began at one of the most pivotal times in my life, where I needed a game like Mass Effect to just punch a hole into my reality and sort of take me out a bit and let me dream a bit. That's the thing. I felt like I could dream again. Losing somebody as close as your dad, your best friend, you know, it was so hard. And a game like Mass Effect, it kind of gave me hope. It made me think of how I would probably watch him play Mass Effect, but here I was playing it and almost in a weird way honoring my dad, or in my mind honoring my dad by playing a game that he would love. It might sound kind of sentimental or kind of sappy, maybe, I don't know, but I felt like he was there with me. Like literally when I was playing Mass Effect, I could almost just feel him right next to me, playing it with me.
What are you doing?
I'm at war.
There's things that happen in that game where I just kept thinking about him. I kept thinking about what he would be saying and how he would be reacting to various moments and pivotal scenes in the game. Mass Effect really is one of the defining games of not just my 20s, but my entire retro life. I'm thankful that I had these games at that time in my life. I don't feel like escapism and escaping into games, I don't think that is a very healthy thing to do all the time. I think it's important that we face some of our realities and some of our stresses in life and not just completely isolate ourselves and avoid problems. And my 20s was definitely a season of escapism for me when I was dealing with so many problems in my life, and the Xbox 360 and these games, they definitely helped pull me through. But you know what? This season also taught me to lean on my family and lean on my friends. Whether it was going to parties with my buddy Brian and playing these games, or even going to church at this point, this was a season of self-reflection and self-discovery for myself. I was trying to find my place in this world and trying to understand who I was as an adult, now living my life without my dad. Well, that's about it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this look back on the Xbox 360 and specifically the games that really helped me grieve the loss of my dad. I want to know though, guys, 20 years later, what do you think of the Xbox 360? And maybe leave in the comments below some of the games that defined this console for you. I know it meant a whole lot to me, and I'm curious to know what it meant to you. If this is your first time to the channel, do consider subscribing. I love talking about my game crazy family and all the amazing adventures we had with video games, so many of which were caught on tape by Dad. And a big shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. It means the world to me. If you want to become a patron, definitely head on over to patreon.com/myretrolife or click the join button right here on YouTube. All right, guys, that's it. I'll catch you next time.